Thank you for joining me again. Today, I wanted to talk about this fear around AI and responsibility, governance, and compliance to build trustworthy AI. As we know, AI is all the rage. Everyone's talking about it. Companies are trying to figure out how do they implement AI in a responsible way. And I liken it to the cloud 10, 12, 15 years ago, right? When companies were trying to decide, do we trust AWS with all of our data and applications in the cloud? So I think the way that fractional talent can partner with these companies is to help them mitigate that risk and take away that fear and build that confidence and trust in using AI responsibly. So I'd love to hear from you more about your definition of trustworthy AI.
There's a lot of terms that people throw around. I like the term trustworthy AI. You will also hear people talk about responsible AI. And to me, responsible AI talks about the team who's building it. What I think they're building is an AI that is trustworthy. So I think they're essentially synonymous terms. But there's a number of terms underneath that we should talk a little bit more about.
Yeah, so tell me more. I think one of the top things in the pillars, as I've sat through your courses, mini courses and webinars, shameless plug, go check out his courses, is ethics. So let's talk a little bit more about the pillars around AI ethics.
Well, ethics is a very slippery topic, particularly for computer people that are used to numbers and formulas. It's easy to think that you can somehow do that in a spreadsheet, and I just think that's completely wrong. You need a different entire approach to do that. But what that leads into very quickly is this idea of a governance board. Mm-hmm. And you need to bring a lot of different people together, because that's one of the things about ethics. I may have some good ideas about ethics from a technical point of view, and you have some from a different point of view, but we need to bring a lot of different viewpoints together to make sure that that we're being ethical across a number of different dimensions, and there's no checklist for it. But I think companies need a governance board to bring together all of these topics so that even the technologists who don't know all of these topics can understand better what they need to do and not do.
And it would be advisable for a company to have a governance board made up of both individuals from their organization, maybe the business and the technical team, and then maybe bring in an outside expert like yourself that understands AI ethics and governance to come in from the outside and advise them as well, right? There can be a board made up of both internal and external.
Absolutely. You need to get all the topics covered. And like you said, it needs to include the executives, it needs to include the data science teams, it needs to include operations. How are they going to do it? What do they have to do this? Are they collecting private data? You probably even want some HR folks in there, because they will learn what kind of skills the company is needing. And so that's a good way for them to understand what they need to be looking for.
Absolutely. Awesome. So then beyond this governance board, we also have to make sure that we're using the AI in the right way. And we know with data, it's garbage in, garbage out. I think with AI, it's more about asking the right questions to get the right answers. And we're learning more about prompting. And if you prompt it the wrong way, you're going to get the wrong results, right? So tell me how you verify this part of
This is a tricky part that has multiple facets on it. One of them is just how do you write the right prompts from a technical point of view. But I'm also really interested in talking with executives about so that they don't just go, I don't know what's going on. The techies are going to handle it for me. I'm out. No, you're not. This is your business. You have to understand what's going on. So we need to educate the executives on what questions they should ask their own data science teams and how to interpret what their teams are telling them back and to make some sense of all of that. Right. It's a very tricky area.
And for accuracy is important, right? So
Absolutely.
That we're getting the right information out of the system.
And what are you going to do when it does hallucinate? They will hallucinate. Don't ever think they won't. So what's your plan? What kind of reputational risks are you facing? What kind of financial risks? What kind of legal risks are you facing? Mm-hmm. That's why the executives have to have some kind of a presence or relationship with this governance board.
And that's that human intelligence complementing the artificial intelligence, right? We're using
Absolutely.
AI, but we still need the human to validate that the data is correct and sourced properly and isn't hallucinating and isn't going off the rails.
Exactly. I would never put an AI in charge of the governance board. You're just begging for problems then.
I think one of the other concerns that I hear from a lot of executives and people in the business is about privacy and confidentiality. Also from, heaven forbid that someone puts IP or product data into OpenAI in a large language model and it gets out there, but even internally using it, right? And so can you talk to me a little bit about how you would advise and consult on the concern around privacy or confidentiality of the data?
Absolutely. And just to kind of clarify a couple of terms, privacy usually refers to keeping personal data private, whereas confidentiality is about keeping corporate data private. But a lot of the same techniques work in both cases. But there are techniques above just log in and log out and encrypting data. That's at a very fundamental level, and it's clearly important, but there's a lot of techniques about, I have medical data, I have legal data, I have data about people. I have to keep that private and under control. GDPR, the California Privacy Act, there's a bunch of acts that require businesses to take certain precautions, and they need to be followed.
And this would be another area that a company could leverage someone like yourself, an external fractional consultant that is an AI expert that understands these privacy laws and confidentiality laws and can help make sure that they're using AI responsibly.
Correct.
And again, mitigating their risk, right? And then the last area that I know you are passionate about speaking about, and is it kind of all the buzz, is bias, right? Unconscious bias and the bias in the AI and the bias in the data that the AI is using. So talk to me a little bit about that area.
There have been so many public, examples worldwide of, the facial recognition stuff. Mm-hmm. There are, people making fake videos and stuff that are introducing bias. There's a lot of things where the AI works really well on white people, but not people of darker colored skin. That's clearly an issue. There's the male-female difference, particularly in hiring, but in a lot of other areas as well. And we want these AIs to be fair. And how do you even know if your system is fair? Maybe you didn't do anything explicitly to make it unfair, but it may have creeped in, and it can creep in a lot of different ways. And one of the other parts that then goes behind this is, how do you explain to somebody else what it is your AI is even doing? How do they trust that it's making the decisions the right way and using the right kinds of information to do that?
Yeah. So these are all those areas that companies are probably a little bit afraid of, a little bit hesitant about. How do we adopt AI? It's that fear of, I don't want to get sued, I don't want to lose money, I don't want to have damage to our company's reputation. So how do we use AI responsibly? How do we build trustworthy AI? How do we vet the right AI to use the right AI for our company? And these are all great examples that your company could benefit from leveraging experts like Scott and others on our team of fractional consultants that have a little bit more understanding and outside background in AI ethics, compliance, governance. We could even pair Scott with our CISO resources, Brent, to bring them in and build you the right security policies so that you're building AI responsibly and that you can use AI with confidence and mitigate your risk. So
build it the right way so you can sleep it.
Any of these concerns are real for you at your organization as an executive, that are these fears about introducing AI and risks about introducing AI that are keeping you up at night, contact us at Fractional Talent on how you can engage one of our experts to help put your fears to bed. Looking forward to helping you explore AI in a trustworthy and responsible way.